Welcome to the Ultimate Music Theory Basic Rudiments Lesson 4. In Lesson 3, you learned that a semitone or half step is the shortest distance in pitch between two notes, and that a whole step or whole tone is equal to two semitones. In Lesson 4, you'll learn how the semitones and whole tones, or also called tones, form the major scale. You'll also learn the shortcut on how to write the major keys around the outside of the circle of fifths in less than 1 minute. So let's begin with the major scale pattern. Beginning on any note, the pattern is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. A slur, or a semitone slur as it's sometimes called, is a curved line used to identify the half step between the 3rd and 4th degrees and the 7th and 8th degrees of the major scale. Now the little circumflex, or the hat above the number, indicates the degree number of the scale. When writing the major scale pattern beginning on notes other than C, we'll need an accidental to keep the major scale pattern. For example, if we start the major scale pattern on E, we would have E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. Instead of using accidentals, the sharps and flats can be put into the key signature. Now, a key signature is written at the beginning of the staff, right after the clef sign. Here's E major scale written using a key signature instead of accidentals. To identify the sharps or flats in each major key, we can use the circle of fifths. So as promised, here's the shortcut to teaching how to write the circle of fifths with 4 flats and 4 sharps in less than 1 minute. Now the outside of the circle of fifths is a map of the major keys. Keys with flats are on the left and the keys with sharps are on the right. It's called the circle of fifths because when moving around the circle, the distance between each key is a perfect fifth and 5 letter names. Now each key on the circle of fifths moves from the tonic note, the first note of the major scale, to the dominant note, the 5th note of the major scale. When moving clockwise around the circle of fifths, we begin with C. Moving up the major scale pattern from the tonic note C to the dominant note G, G is now the next key to the right on the circle of fifths. G major has 1 sharp and it is F sharp. Always write the circle of fifths in the same order. Begin at the top left and draw the flat sign and write the order of flats. B flat, E flat, A flat, and D flat. Spells the word bead. Battle ends and down. On the top right, draw the sharp sign and the order of sharps. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Father Charles goes down. Now write the number 0 at the top and then numbers 1 to 4 on either side of the circle. These numbers identify how many flats or sharps are in each key. Use uppercase letters for major keys. So start at the number 1 on the flat side with F and use the sentence, Father Charles goes down and ends. When we cross the line, we repeat the A and start with the sentence again. And flat, ends, flat, battle, flat. Now you have completed the circle of fifths around the circle. Why do we need to know the circle of fifths? So when reading or writing music, such as scales, we can have quick recall of what is in the key signature for each major key. Now, for example, when we look at the circle of fifths and we see E major has 4 sharps, Father Charles goes down. When we play the major scale pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, beginning on E, we have E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. The 4 sharps in the major scale pattern beginning on E are the 4 sharps indicated on the circle of fifths. So in your 4th Ultimate Music Theory Basic Rudiments lesson, you learned the major scale pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, beginning on any note. You also learned how to write the circle of fifths. So grab your whiteboard. You can use the circle on the top or flip it over and use the blank side, or just grab a piece of paper and see if you can write it out in less than 1 minute. In our next video, Ultimate Music Theory Basic Rudiments Lesson 5, I'll give you a UMT tip on how to remember the harmonic and melodic intervals. Plus, we'll use our circle of fifths to identify major and minor and perfect intervals. Till next time, teach with passion.